Buckets. That's the name of my boat. Buckets.
Buckets. What we get.
Not the only transfer we got from Florida. Keith Stone, too. Remember that.
Everybody who watches his show on a regular basis knows my love of the stretch four.
You know, we all make mistakes. He might have made one going to
Mercy
Tallahassee.
if y'all don't know. Dribble to the left, crossover to the right. Hurricane to the game, many buckets for the night. Matt with the pick and roll, Melissa with the give and go. Vish, alley-oop, pretty girl dunking in the hole. Check the scoreboard, this what we ball for. Beat the gameplay, they want an encore. Yeah, overtime for another round. It's buckets out the buckets, baby. You out of time. It's buckets. What it is, homie, it's buckets. Woo! We getting buckets. Yeah, baby, buckets.
I have no shame.
I know. That's the problem.
You guys are awesome.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Buckets, an emergency episode. I'm Matty Ice. He's Vish. Vish, dynamic duo today. Got to break down some news. How we feeling?
We're feeling good, you know, after all the Popeye slander. Had to rep the home front here. Matt purchased this for me. It's a very nice fitting hoodie. This is one that I will wear more than once. So, you know, it's a pro Popeyes show today. We're repping the brand. It's a good day for Cane's Hoops. It's a good day for some good chicken. Today we eat with flavor.
Some well-seasoned chicken.
Yes, we will have flavor today on the show.
Yeah. I love it. So what do you want to talk about first?
Well, I guess we'll just do them in order, right? So Nijel, the first of two bombs to drop was Nijel announcing he's coming back.
Yeah. So
which, you know, yesterday on the show, we had speculated that it looked like based on who we were, we'll talk about this with Lynn Kid as well, but who we were targeting, that it did look like we expected Nijel back. You know, we weren't really looking for a replacement point guard. Yeah, but that's still, you know, it's still a great sign that's official now and that he's back in the fold because, you know, finally a bit of good news there that, hey, someone actually wants to play for this team. What a concept. But I think that this is kind of expected, I think. But then, you know, I certainly didn't expect like Nwoko to go into the portal. So, you know, just because you expect it doesn't mean it's going to happen. This is really, really positive news for the Canes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, I would have hated to see, you know, Nigel's time here end the way it did this season with just all the injuries and everything. He just, you know, almost played the entire season injured. So I'm glad he's coming back. He was an important part of the team that made the Final Four run. I mean, he won the most outstanding player of the region. So obviously a huge piece in that run. And I'm excited about the fit next to Jaleel Bethea, just because I think that those are two guys that can really feed off of each other. I think that, you know, Jaleel playing next to him, I think is going to just help him as a player, as, you know, he has someone else that can create their own offense, someone else that can be another playmaker as well. I think that's one of the most underrated parts of Jaleel's game, is that he is a really good playmaker as well as a scorer. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be one of the best guard duos in the ACC for sure, and if not the country as well.
Yeah, no, it's a good fit. Like you said, I think one of the things we missed, you know, last year is we were essentially playing 2 point guards, and Nijel needs to be the point guard. He needs like an actual shooting guard next to him, and most of last year played without that. So this will be a huge help. It's a really good fit. Look, he played through a ton of injuries this year. Gutted it. I'd love to get him on the show. Maybe we'll at some point ask him, like, you know, what was it? Because I mean, he had every reason to just shut it down, and he kept coming back, kept getting injured again, kept coming back, and you know, it was clearly he wasn't 100%, but you know, he did show a lot of character. And just he's like he had no business playing the ACC tournament. Like, he was banged up. he was getting fouled like crazy and kept going. It's one of those things like honor and defeat type of deals. And love to know like what his thought process was on continuing to come back, because he easily could have shut it down. I'm worried about my health and myself, and he didn't do that. Like, that's an awesome teammate, and it's just another extension of that. But
and it makes sense. He's the first one that announced that he was coming back too, right?
It's kind of ironic because he's the one that was like the first, big NIL guy. That like everyone was like, oh, he's just doing it for the money. This kid is not, and there's other ways that he could have made money. In fact, he could have sat. He was going to get paid whether he sat out this year or not. Shout out to Max. Yeah, the Canes are down 2-1 to Clemson, bottom of the fifth. 2-1, no out. Clemson's changing pitchers. We are monitoring that situation. But it's not every day we get two big time players to commit to the Canes. So
and that's the thing too. Like with how the portal is now, like just having guys return is a huge deal.
Yeah, and Canes Cat Heat actually talked about this yesterday a little bit in the chat, and like how they spent a bunch of money and all this stuff. Most other than Matthew Cleveland was just to keep the team intact last year. And yeah, that is a big deal. It's to do that. But getting a player in Nigel's caliber again, he's got all the heart in the world. He's a competitor. All of those things are certainly true. He's a great high character guy. He's a guy you want leading your team forward from the point guard position. Like, he's the type of guy that you want at the point, saying like, hey, that's our guy. He's going to lead the team forward. Like, that puts you in. But even beyond that, like, dude's an elite shooter. And one of the things they were able to get away with last year, which they weren't 2 years ago, was, even trapping him, doubling him out at the logo to prevent him from getting his shot up. And because they didn't really worry about, as Bensley was all right, but they weren't really worried about him making plays and scoring. And, Wooga was in out of the lineup. Cleveland's jumper was inconsistent. Like, there wasn't really anyone to punish them for that. And to your point, they're going to try that with Jalil, but the shooting guard, he'll take it right to the rim. He'll get easy shots and score easily. So, I'm happy for Nigel too, that like he's going to get an opportunity to, play with a proper shooting guard next to him and really show his talent again. Because I think people forget. We've had a lot of comments from, people. Insanely questioning whether he's worth the NIL money when we were in the Final Four last year and he was the most outstanding player in the regional. But let's put that to one side. I don't think remembering his value, because when you're like, the same thing happens to Steph Curry in the NBA when his teammates aren't there and they can double him out at half court. He's still the best shooter in NBA history. But if that's all you have to defend, you can trap and force the ball out of a guard's hands, even at half court. And without anyone to exploit that, it takes the shooting away. And so I think people kind of forgot how good he is. So
yeah, and even
that again,
even though he was the focus of like, other teams when they're scouting us and, getting doubled constantly and getting all that attention, still had the lowest turnover rate on the team, had the highest assist rate. I thought his playmaking actually improved this year. I just think the ball wasn't in his hands as much. I think he played off ball a little bit more. But to me, it was almost like his shot and offensively, he was just kind of off. And I think a lot of that was due to injuries and because of how other teams were playing him. And, the personnel that we had couldn't capitalize on, getting open shots when Nigel was getting all of this attention, right, on offense.
Yeah, and I think, again, one of the things we've complimented about Coach L throughout his tenure is like he does learn from his mistakes, and moving Nigel into more of the shooting guard role and off the ball was a mistake. And that's why I was kind of laughing up here, like, well, he can't play point guard. I'm like, he's not playing point guard. When he played point guard, we made the Final Four. I think he can play point guard. It's that he's playing off the ball. Bensley is playing point guard. And I think that was, he learned from that mistake. And then, the other thing, we had a unique team that we jigsawed together 2 years ago, and trying to recreate that, also a mistake. Like, it's just, you're not going to get that exact chemistry again. Again, we were 5 minutes away from losing the first game to Drake. So we weren't Connecticut or anything. We were just rolling over everyone. And it was like, oh yeah, this is definitely going to work if we do it again. I mean, there were some hairy moments there, even getting to the Final Four, and any kind of dip, and it wasn't obviously the injuries and everything kind of fell apart, but any kind of dip in like play would have not, and trying to replace Jordan Miller and Isaiah Wong, which we didn't really do, was going to cause a problem. But I also think just tactically he made some mistakes that he's acknowledging now in terms of the personnel and the fit, and getting Nigel with the ball in his hands again, and having Jaleel make plays off of him, like that's an exciting prospect. And we had a show last night. It was a lot more dire. It feels good right about now.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot more, speculation and whatnot. But it's kind of crazy. I think this segues, to who we're going to talk about next. Or do you want to keep talking about Nigel?
Well, no, I mean, I think the one, just to kind of wrap up the Nigel discussion. So he is now, like, he came in allegedly as like a mercenary who, they just paid him. He just took the money. He is now going to, be a 3-year starter at this program, and his legacy is going to be very robust at this program. And, a lot of these guys that cut bait, transfer and all, don't realize, like, he is going to, be one of the stalwarts of this program's history now. And that's impressive for a guy who, again, was criticized. Like, obviously this wasn't the case. And if you get to know Nigel and you see him playing all, this is a guy who cares deeply and works his ass off and all this stuff. But, the stigma is he took the check, and now he's going to, 3-year starter. He's going to be a legend in the school's history. Which, if he left, maybe not, like, because then you have 2 years, one Final Four, one of the worst teams in the ACC where he was injured a lot of the year. Yeah, that's a little bit more. Now getting that 3rd year and really kind of cementing his legacy is going to be on all the record books now because of the extra year playing. And so all of that, like, this is really, a step in that direction of, when you talk about best point guards in Kane's history, he's going to be in that conversation if he has a good year next year. Which there's no reason to think he won't unless he gets injured again. So it's an interesting move for someone that we kind of thought, maybe we'll get him for 1 or 2 years, is now like, no, this guy is Kane for life. He's going to be revered in the history of the program. It's quite the turn of events for when he came in, and was kind of stigmatized as being just chasing the money.
Yeah.
So just real quick before we talk about Lynn Kidd, Lewis Jones, we know, want type guard.
We have him.
Well, 2 things. One is the ACC player of the year and probably the 3rd best player in school history. I mean, yeah, everyone could use that. But second, Jaleel Bethea is the most talented, highly thought of player we've ever had coming to this program. So, saying we need Wong, so Wong is Wong. It's like if Michael Jordan left and you're like, oh, we see another Michael Jordan. Okay, that's not happening. But we do have the best shooting guard recruit in school history coming in. So, I mean, we got what we want. You're not going to get a Wong back. You're not going to recreate the 4-year career of him, like, progressing into that. But Jaleel Bethea is by far better than anything you could possibly hope for at shooting guard. So
he would have started for this last team and put up, like,
for sure. No, he would have been the best player on the team. And he might be next year already.
Yeah, and I think too, like, this is kind of different for Canes fans because we haven't had a recruit of this note, in a long time. But, like, Jaleel Bethea is like a top 5, top 3, like, NBA pick guy. I mean, we have never had that before. Obviously, like, Lonnie Walker is probably the closest.
Yeah, and coming in, he was like a top 10-ish guy. This is even another level above that.
Yeah.
And Lonnie is the closest we've had to this.
Yeah.
And again, this is even a step up. So
this is even a step up, yeah.
And again, not only that though, he's a great fit next to Nigel. So it's just like it's salivating stuff there. Speaking of salivating stuff, everyone's been complaining we don't have height. We got height now.
Yes, we do.
I mean, there was speculation this was going to happen yesterday, even before our show. We got some breakdowns on Lynn Kidd, but he is now a Miami Hurricane. It wasn't this one wasn't. I think by the time it happened, we kind of knew it was going to happen, to be honest.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
so just for some background, he's a grad transfer. He's 6'10", Virginia Tech starting center from last year, averaged 13 and 6. Polished post-up game. He started his career at Clemson for a year, and then last 3 years at Virginia Tech. So he's done the ACC rounds. He's certainly familiar with the conference. But this is a legitimate, even on obviously Norchad's been the center. He's listed as a forward, because he's undersized and all that. This is a legitimate center. For everyone that's been opining, oh, we need a legitimate center. This is a real, like, if you want a college center, like, this is absolutely a big time college player at the center position. So Matt, what are your initial thoughts? Well, actually, before that, shout out to Terrence Sullivan. I don't think I've ever seen you in the show chat, my friend, but he is all over our Twitter. He's one of our close followers on the Buckets accounts. Thanks for following us along.
Shout out to
Terrence. Yeah, we recognize you,
man. I think it was interesting because it kind of just came out of nowhere. Like, he entered the portal, I think it was like 2 days ago, right?
Yep. Yeah, it was 2 days ago.
There was no reporting of like any interest, to Miami initially. It was just kind of last night it really ramped up. And then obviously today he committed. But yeah, no, I think he's an interesting player. I think the more I watch film and whatnot, the better I feel about it as well too. Like you said, 13 and 7 a game, shot 84% from the free throw line too.
I did notice that, and you can see over his career it progressively ticked up.
Yeah, so it makes you wonder of like if he does have some capability as a shooter in terms of maybe like more of a mid-range game. It wasn't something you saw in film a lot. It was more he's more of a traditional. Well, I don't want to say traditional post-up guy, but he scores a lot at the rim. Uses a lot of off-ball movement. I think the one thing that he does really well that I like is like when he sets a ball screen, he's very good at like recognizing when to dive really quickly, and he's so fast that it's hard for defense to recover.
He's really athletic.
He's very athletic, very quick, and you'll notice too, like if you ever watch him in transition, like if someone gets a steal or something, he's running on the break with the guards. So that's something like, I mean, we were used to seeing, us getting out in transition after forcing turnovers. So, I think that's going to be something really fun to watch, him out on the break, catching oops from Jaleel. But the other thing too, that I noticed is like, he has one of the best defensive rebounding rates, like in the conference and whatnot. And like, if you look at his numbers, like they're solid, right? 13 and 7. But like he only played 23 minutes a game. Like
they had another center, Poteet, and they split time. That's why. So it was
and Poteet, he was more of like a defensive minded like guy.
Right. And you actually saw that in our games, because what they would do, at least against us, is Poteet carried more minutes against us because he would bang with Norchad, and then they wait for Nwoko to come in, and Kid would just kick his ass because, well documented on this show that Nwoko doesn't really know how to play defense, and Kid's a polished offensive player around the rim, so it's pretty easy for him to just. I believe the home game was the one where they went to him 3 or 4 times in a row against Nwoko, and he scored every time. Like that was, and so it's a different type of player, but. Yeah, I guess
like I do think in terms of like guarding a traditional post player, like he can have some struggles, but I don't think it's a lack of effort thing, He is more of like a slender frame, but I do think he makes up for it with like how mobile he is. We like to hard hedge screens. I don't know if that's still going to be the plan, this season as well, but he's someone who can recover really well, like off switches and whatnot. And also too, like if he gets switched on to another player, I think he could do a decent job because of his quickness, when relative to his position, right? So yeah, no, I do think that defense is something, I wouldn't call it like a huge negative, but in terms of like traditional post defense, we could have some problems with him guarding some guys, but I think what he brings offensively and and the other things he can do on defense, really, are going to help us win.
Right. And to your point, I also think Norchad struggles against traditional centers that are able to post up. So I don't even know that's in fact, like Jordan Miller kind of did a better job guarding them. And I mean, it was
Jordan Miller was our best post defender.
Yeah, very small sample size, but actually Matthew Cleveland in the ACC tournament when we switched him on the
like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of slight, but no, he did a better job of guarding in the post than Norchad was in that game. And so I do think, we'll talk a little bit about what this might mean for the rest of the roster, but
yeah, that's what I actually wanted to get into.
I still think overall, if we're just talking post defense, probably still an upgrade at that position, which is a good segue into what you wanted to talk about, which is, okay, so what does this mean? I mean, the obvious question is, all right, we just landed a guy who is no doubt this is a center. This is not a guy who's going to play the 4. He's going to play the 5.
Yeah.
And he's no doubt a starter. So what does that mean? Again, the elephant in the room is, okay, what does that mean for Norchad?
Well, and I think we should preface this with this is just
we don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
we don't know. We don't know anything.
Yep.
When I first saw it, I was like, oh yeah, this is like writing on the wall. Norchad's not coming back. But like the more that I thought about it and like let it marinate and stuff, I think he could come back, and I think that they could actually play, well off each other. I think the things that I didn't talk about with Kidd, he's a really good passer. So like if you come help off, Norchad could dive, give him a good, an easy look at the basket. He had a higher assist rate than some of our guards on our team. So if that says anything, and doesn't really turn the ball over that much too, for how much, he does pass and whatnot. So I think you see some of that, seniority and whatnot with his decision making. So I do think it can fit. The one thing I will say is, like, if you're expecting like Norchad to strictly become like a stretch 4 or just only be on the perimeter, like I would not want to see that at all, because that's not Norchad's game. And I think we talked about this as well. Obviously there's probably going to be times where he's on the perimeter, but that's not his game. He's one of the best offensive rebounders in the country. He's very aggressive with how he attacks the glass and whatnot. And I think it would just kind of be a detriment of how he plays. I think it's another, obviously we put Matthew Cleveland in a bad position last season, I think, asking him to, become a player he really wasn't. And I think that would be kind of doing the same thing. But I don't think that necessarily means that these two guys can't fit well playing next to each other. I still think they can. It's just, if you're expecting Norchad to kind of just stay out on the perimeter and just become a shooter, like it's not the case at all.
Right. And I think it would
be.
No, it shouldn't be at all. And I mean, like you said, we talked about this quite a bit in this show. Like, his 3-point shooting ticked up, like percentage wise, marginally. I think it went up like 2 or 3 points from last year. The thing that really went up a lot was his attempts, but that was still like, shooting in the uncovered, because no one's covering him, shooting in like the mid to low 30s. That's not a good shot. If you're wide open and you can only make 1 out of 3, like, go get a better look. And so,
well, and so I think what I think we saw kind of like at the start of the season, if I remember correctly, he would kind of use it, and he would make 1, then defense would kind of come out, and then it would open up his driving ability. And I thought that was something that was, beneficial and whatnot. But like, I don't want to have a game where he, takes like 4 or 5 threes or even more, right?
Right. No, he shouldn't. I mean, honestly, he shouldn't really be shooting threes at all. I mean, I don't. Again, he's uncovered, and he's making that percentage, and he's not always uncovered. So I mean, sometimes he takes bad ones, but most of the time he's just wide open. He just doesn't have that range. And I mean, you've talked about this as well as I have. Slow release, it's just not his game. You'd rather have him playing closer to the rim. So yeah, if he's going to play the 4, as Bill says, shout out to Bill. It's more of a traditional 4, but
Yeah.
You're talking mid-range in. Yeah, it's a pretty. It's,
Yeah.
it,
We didn't. I think that's something we didn't see this season as well. Like we didn't see as much of that mid range, right?
which we did 2 years ago when he was less obsessed with like showing he could shoot 3-pointers. And yeah, so I think that is everything okay over there.
Yeah. No, we're good.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that is something you want to hopefully see like if he's back, he's gonna have to play the 4, but it should be pretty fluid between him and Kid because they're both mobile. And it can be difficult for teams to guard. But the way it's going to be difficult for teams to guard is if Norchad plays inside the 3-point line. Because he's not difficult to guard outside the 3-point. You can put a small on him if he's going to park it outside. Like the challenge is going to be having, because they can both score in the post, they can both get to the rim, they're both talented in the paint. Now you have trouble matching up with us. Right, but if you start floating him out to the 3-point line, that's actually an easy cover. Anyone can cover him out there. So, so that I think is and that's actually something that happened when we floated out there. The more teams put smalls on him, and then Norchad's quick when he's being guarded by a fellow big. He's not quicker than actual guards and forwards. So that was definitely like a challenge. That's how they gladly have him take it up to the 3-point line and try to make a play off the dribble there. So. They can play together, but it's going to be moving back to more traditional 4 or 5 combo there. I think honestly, just looking at the way we've attacked the portal, I think Norchad's gone.
Yeah,
we've been so aggressive in making sure we get a starting center, and I think we would have been a little bit more selective and a little bit heavier looking at power forwards that could play like next to Norchad, if that was the route we were going. It feels an awful lot like
or guys with like a specific skill set, right? That can play on the perimeter right.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like we're doing. It feels like we're constructing, and we talked about this last night. But in contrast to us never really looking at a point guard because we kind of knew Nijel was coming back. I would be pretty surprised if Norchad's back at this point, but. Like you said, they can play together, so this doesn't like eliminate that possibility.
Yeah.
And then what about I know we're doing a quick show here, everyone, so we're gonna wrap in a couple of minutes. But so then now there are 3 others left on the rosters. Wooga that have not.
I still have like 10-15 minutes, just
okay.
So.
Okay, we can dig into this heavily then.
Yeah.
So I think we're all assuming Jobé is back, and frankly, it doesn't matter. So let's move past that and look at the other 3. So it's Wooga, it's Keyshawn, it's Matthew Cleveland.
Yeah.
I obviously all 3 are not coming back. That's just like an impossibility. So but what are your thoughts there in terms of, because now we got Nijel and Jalea, and look, we all are very happy Nigel's coming back. That was probably the most important guy to get back at this point. But that is he's a guard. Jaleel's obviously starting as a guard. So you now have 3 other wing types. Well, what do you think happens there?
Man, I think Keyshawn's gone.
Okay.
And I think that. Okay, actually, no. Hold up. Yeah, I think Keyshawn's gone. I think there's a little bit more of a chance that Wooga comes back compared to Keyshawn. And then I actually think I'm like 50-50 on Matthew Cleveland, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't know how you feel about it, but
I think Wooga is definitely gone.
Okay.
Melissa's on your MBJ train here.
Could you imagine if we go from like the lineups we would roll out last year to
this?
a 6'8" small forward and like that plays like a power forward? Like that would be insane.
I mean, this lineup is literally just Nijel or Jaleel shoot a jumper and everyone go get the rim.
Yeah,
we're gonna offensive rebound the hell and everything.
Well, and that's the thing. Like if Norchad got in foul trouble, you could put MVJ at the 4 and then.
Well, I mean, it is give you. Yeah, and I do think one of the things we did last year was worry more about being selective in who we bring in. We didn't want to impact the existing. I don't think they care anymore. Like they went and got Lynn Kid, and if that means that Norchad goes, that means that Norchad goes. You know, like I think they spent a lot of time, you know, I think that's why Matthew Cleveland was the get. Who can potentially play next to Norchad obviously didn't work out. And like to your point, it wasn't really fair to play him out of position, but that was the attempt because they were trying to build the team around Norchad. And like who can play next to him? Not that many players can. And I think that is kind of completely they've gone the other direction. But anyway, so I think Wooga's definitely gone. I think Keyshawn is. I think Matthew will come back, and I'm on the fence on Keyshawn just because if his draft evals don't lock him into the first round, I think he might come back. Because right now he's bored. He's every time I see a draft projection, he's dropping lower, and to me it depends on how his camp goes, like the value, the feed. But these draft mocks are bullshit. So it depends on the feedback he gets from like the actual, you know, evaluations and all that. If he thinks he's got a decent chance of going the first round and he's gone. And he could end up top 10 too. Like there's a big variance there because his draft is so weak.
That's what I was gonna say.
So like depending on how he feels, you know, the feedback, I think he's definitely putting his name in the draft. He's gonna go through the process, and depending on like what he thinks going through that, I think that'll dictate a lot of like whether he comes back or not. Like if he thinks he's like, you know, decent probability of going anywhere in the first, he's gone. And he could get a significantly higher grade than that. We're like, oh, you're top 15. Or even, you know, teams say, hey, we'll draft you if you're here at like 20 or something like that. That'll just tip it over. But, you know, if he doesn't get a good evaluation where he's like borderline, he might come back.
Yeah. Let me ask you
a question first. Should I continue to ignore that Melissa's backstage, or should I let her in?
Ignore her. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. All right.
No,
you know, the dictator actually has no power. It's all on
Vish,
me.
let her in.
All right.
Let her in.
I mean, I need to hear her vote on whether or not she wants to come in because I can't do anything without running past.
Why would she join if she? Come on.
I don't know. Go ask her.
This is why I'm the dictator, not Vish, because Vish is not for the people.
MBJ to the U.
I am definitely for the people. I'm a man of the people. What are we talking about here?
What is this hoodie you're wearing?
Oh,
is that your Popeyes hoodie?
It is the
it's
you know,
the Popeyes hoodie.
After last night's disaster of a show, you know, we had a great day on the court today. You know, what
was a disaster of a show? We had amazing hoodies on. We got to see the new Final Thoughts graphic.
Liam picked Chick-fil-A. That is a disaster of a show, and so I had to balance it out. You know, we got Nigel back.
Vish, we already knew that he was going to pick Chick-fil-A.
Oh, I know. There was no doubt. But we got Nigel back. We got Lynn Kidd in the fold now. It was a day for flavored chicken. We got flavor on our chicken today. We got the Popeyes going. It's a good day. You know, we're going to spice it up here. You're going to bite into sandwich. You're like, oh, there's flavor in this. I mean, this is what you're looking for. It's definitely a Popeyes day. Yesterday was a Chick-fil-A day. Today's a Popeyes day.
But I missed.
Anyway, I mean the show. What do you want to talk about, Melissa? You hopped in here from work. So when we talked about Nigel coming back, we talked about Lynn Kidd, and then we talked about the impact on the current players, like who that have not decided yet. I
like my all big lineup and Nigel.
Oh, we talked about the insanity of that too, but.
Have we heard anything of MBJ? Like, has he expressed interest, or is there like no chance and Matt's just falling in love for no reason?
Well, I DM'd him like 200 times and I haven't gotten a response yet.
No, you haven't DM'd him 200 times, really?
No, I haven't. I'm just joking.
Oh, I was gonna say.
He is this year's Mustafa Hamza.
No, that's who. We were not
Matt
talking
doesn't know about
Mustafa
Hamza because he was.
You have no idea how much time Melissa spent. It's just you doing instead.
Did you guys really talk about him?
Oh my god, Melissa was like obsessed. I would have told you guys. Guy.
No, he was.
But here's the thing. I think it's similar in that weird.
We would have finished last in the ACC.
I mean, what was the same difference? The reason I say it's a parallel is weird show obsession with some dude who might have like slight interest in us who was never coming in. And that is where we are on this, and that's where we were on Mustafa Hamza. Not same quality of player.
You're gonna look so stupid when MBJ comes here.
Or
And
you're
he's
gonna look
Team
really stupid when
Popeyes.
he like doesn't.
He's not
No.
coming here. He's not coming here. But anyway, because Keyshawn's going to play the 4. He's going to actually lift a weight this offseason. He's going to come in and play the 4.
Do we think Nigel coming back and announcing early will help?
Help
And
with
other
what? Like other transfers
positions
or?
help get people back or get other transfers to come here?
I'm assuming, and this might be a poor assumption, that the team, like the players on the team, kind of knew what his thinking was. So I don't think this was really like a surprise. I mean, I think we did. We talked about this quite a bit, but we were not targeting a point guard in the portal because that's Nigel's job. There's a hospital announcement going on in the background for Melissa. But we weren't targeting a point guard in the portal for a reason. I think everyone kind of expected him back. So I don't think, but we did. I mean, you guys called us out, so I'll take credit for it. But we did see positive reactions from both Keyshawn and Matthew when Nigel made his announcement. So I don't know if that matters or not. I think they expected it, though. I don't think it was like a surprise that it happened.
Yeah.
That was a long ass announcement.
Was it an announcement about a nurse practitioner like getting off of a YouTube show and actually going to work?
No, it was like the visiting hours are ending in 15 minutes announcement, but they like repeat it twice for whatever reason.
Well, because people don't pay attention, they hear the end of it, and that's why you always do it twice. Because they'll hear like part of it, like your brain doesn't turn on immediately, and you catch the tail and like, wait, what's happening in 15 minutes? Then it repeats there.
I was quick to that mute button though.
Yeah, I mean, you
There you
asked
go.
why they do it twice. I explained it.
So people don't know where I work. Because they're like, thank you for visiting, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I gotta.
have you not? I mean, obviously, I'm not going to say anything. I feel like you've probably said it on air at some point.
I've never said it on air where I work.
Okay.
It's on that folder behind you.
No,
No,
it's
it's
not.
not. Although if I put you full screen, you might be able to pick up some stuff off the background. But anyway. Don't forget.
Is there going to be a final thoughts tonight? Did I make it in time?
No, there isn't.
There's not.
This isn't an official. But I gotta ask you, what do you think of the Lynn show coming to Miami? You know, he's gonna really light it up. The Lynn Light Show. You know.
I gotta look more at his stuff. I haven't had a chance to look. Like I woke up, saw the announcement, and then went to work. But hopefully people will lay off about, oh, we need height. Like we have somebody now. So
there was someone that commented he's only 6'10".
I thought Coach L only gets guys that are 6'7" and shorter.
And George Mirason's out of eligibility, so I'm gonna go someone shorter. I mean, what do they want? An 8-footer?
Do you think we add another big?
Probably, because I think Norchad's gone. So yeah.
Yeah, MBJ at the 4.
So what? Nigel, Jaleel, somebody at the 3, MBJ, and Kid.
I mean, we don't have to really talk about hypotheticals with MBJ. We reached out once. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. It's the Mustafa.
If it happens,
like, why are we talking about?
Maybe he'll see this
seriously?
clip of my name that says MBJ to the U, and he'll.
Do you? Okay, honestly, another serious question is, does the school even want him? We reach out to a lot of kids. We don't want them all to come here. Some of it's just
he was one of the first guys we reached out to.
He's one of the first guys in the portal too. And again, like this Lynn kid stuff, like you said, he entered the portal one day, commits to Miami basically the next day. That was because you brokered that crap behind the scenes. So the targets are the people that actually probably aren't in the portal because, again, there's financial. We talked about this a lot with Norchad the other way. Like, he's not going to enter the portal and wait like 3 weeks to commit. When he enters the portal, it's going to be like the next day he's going to Kentucky or whatever it is that paid him.
Do you think he's already shopping around and then?
Of course. His agent better be, unless his agent's incompetent, he better be getting offers. What else is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he'll close that deal up.
What if he decides to stay in that small percent of a chance?
Then he stays.
And we have him next to Kid.
Yeah. If only there was a show that talked about that 10 minutes ago.
Well, you know, I was busy saving lives, so I couldn't tune into the beginning part of the show. But I wanted to hop on at least for a couple minutes.
Yeah, no, it's good. Good.
I
you
didn't
came
want
by.
I didn't want Matt have to deal with you all by himself for the whole time.
You know, we live and learn. You got me the Popeyes, so you know we're in sync here. You're the outlier. You're outnumbered this time. 2 Popeyes, 1 Chick-fil-A.
I've been outnumbered the whole time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but you don't have your board behind you to like point to this time. Who knows what the count is?
7-3.
Yeah, speculation. You can't
I
see it
know the
officially.
count.
I can't see the scoreboard. I can't confirm that.
You ignore the scoreboard anyway.
We want to recount.
Stop the steal.
Stop the steal.
I'm gonna go storm the Capitol. It's like less than a mile from here. I'm going. After the
You can
show,
see it from your roof.
You should probably not say that.
with the Popeyes on. I'm gonna storm it with the Popeyes. I gotta get a big Popeyes flag.
Oh, there we go.
Look
Check
at our
the
man,
comments.
Terrence. Terrence is coming in strong here. Thank you.
There you go, Terrence. Respect.
See,
I
it's
knew
all
I
going to
liked
start to
you,
turn
Terrence.
around. We got Nigel, we got Lynn Kid, we got flavor on our chicken. It's all going to turn around. It's all going to turn around now. We're at a positive swing.
If
We have Matt's
MBJ
final
isn't a
thoughts
Popeyes
segment.
fan, no, not today.
But we
It's
have
not
it. It's not happening. It's not happening today. But we have a lovely graphic.
Oh yeah, we do.
What, Matt's final thoughts?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Matt didn't have time to come, and this all happened so fast. You know, we barely had time to get our flavorful chicken.
Vish was stuck in traffic up until like a minute before you guys went live.
Oh, no, I
For
ran.
everybody that's wondering the behind the scenes.
Yeah, no, I've been out since 6 a.m. Just got back.
Oh jeez.
Off into the countryside and back into the city.
Oh man.
Yes.
Well,
Well, it's a good day for the hoops program for once. So it's the first
True.
time in a
It's been
long
a
time.
while.
Well, it's been a while. It's been
It's been a while since we've covered happy things.
Yeah. And you're starting to see kind of the roster come together and how we're building something here that could be very competitive.
We've got what, 8 guys on the roster currently confirmed.
Yeah.
8 confirmed, and then once we add Frankie Fiddler, we'll be at 9.
Well, I don't know. Is Joe Bay confirmed? We're assuming he's coming back.
He's coming back.
If Joe Bay wasn't, he would already be in the portal because he's the type of guy who needs to like.
He couldn't.
Okay.
You would have to leave sooner than.
Yeah, he exactly, and that's what I'm saying about you talking. I mean, Frankie Fiddler's obviously just joking, but like you're talking about like MBJ, like those are guys that drop into the portal immediately, or they didn't secure the bag first. Like Lynn Kid secured his bag and then went in the portal, and that's what the top level.
Yeah, because he didn't even visit.
He didn't need. I mean, he did visit.
He's
in
been here.
February. Poor kid thought we were good at basketball. Lost to us twice. That's like
Like our only
two of our 6 ACC wins.
He doesn't know anything about us. He
Yeah,
just
just
knows
like they're
that-
so good. They
Wait, they what?
That was all
finished
the game?
14th.
It's like those two, Notre Dame twice. Like that's like there's a couple of matchups we had, but no, but that's like that is that type of player secures their bag first and then hops in the portal, and that's like what I'm sure Norchad's doing behind the scenes right now. We probably know it, which is why again we went aggressively for bigs. But people that are like in the portal and they're kind of waiting around there, those are like the second and third tier portal guys. Which doesn't mean they're bad and they won't end up being really good. Like we've had success with those types, but if you're looking at like your top targets, especially for a school like Miami that pays, you're going in there, you're meeting with their agents, and you're trying to close those deals and pull them in just like we did here. So there is very possible that, the next guy we got in the portal is not in the portal yet. You got to close out that. And we've been talking about this a lot in the Norchad context. Remember that, like, he's not going to just drop into the portal. Like, it's a complicated financial deal, especially since he's international. They got to go sign it in Nicaragua. There's a lot of stuff going on there, a lot of moving parts before he can. But once he enters the portal, he'll last about 10 minutes before he announces the school that he already had closed the deal with.
If he signs with another ACC school, I'm going to be heartbroken.
I'm not going to be heartbroken. I'm going to be pissed. And when Lynn Kid whips his ass again like he did last year, I'll be fine. You sell out the U. You sell out the U. I don't think he's going to. Just to be clear on that. And I'd be surprised if he comes back. I'd be even more surprised if he goes to another ACC school. I think he's going to go to probably a blue blood program that's going to pay him a shitload. And I cannot fault him at all for that. It's what I would do. If you're a person that doesn't have a high NBA probability and someone is throwing big bags of money at you, how do you not take it? Like his family's going to live off that money for generations. Like, what? No, please stay at Miami. Like, fuck it. What, are you kidding me? So, like, that I don't fault him for at all. But if he goes to a rival school or something, that's a whole different volume. But I don't think he's going to do that. I do think someone will give him more money than we're probably willing to, especially since we now have a starting center.
I guess we'll see.
Yep, we will see. So every time I say we'll see you next week, something else happens, and we should have an emergency show. But
I feel like we're gonna be having another
Wednesday.
show. We're gonna have another show on. I think we'll have another show this weekend, or we might have to.
Well, what is the over/under number of shows before Wednesday?
I think it's just
1.5.
No, I think it's 0.5.
0.5.
I think it happens. Yeah.
Over.
I'm taking the over. Line might move to 1.
The over. So what would trigger a show?
MBJ committing.
That's not good. I mean, we got.
I think anyone committing from the portal for sure.
Or any of the other players left announcing they're staying or going.
Yeah, I think if any of the other. Besides...
I mean, okay. Let's say if like Wooga says he's leaving, which we all kind of expect at this point. By the way, as far as I know, he didn't react to Nigel coming back. So.
Keyshawn did, Norchad did,
and Matthew did.
Yeah.
So if that ain't a sign, I mean, we're obviously reading way too much into all of this, but I mean, I don't think Wooga leaving at this point, given that we kind of expect it, would trigger a show maybe. Yeah,
you know what? Actually, I'm gonna edit what I said earlier. I think Wooga's the most likely to leave. I know I said slightly he might come back more than Keyshawn. I actually think.
I mean, Keyshawn's going to be a long process because he's going to go through the draft process.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a long time before we know if Keyshawn's coming back. Because
that's true.
He's going to go through all the camp workouts, and then my expectation at that point is he'll get a good enough grade where he'll leave. But he's got to do his due diligence on that either way. So he's going to be a long path. I think Wooga's securing his bags. What I think Wooga's doing right now. He's going to Lynn kid us. He's going to be in the portal and like committed to a big school probably the next day or two after that who paid him. Which is fine. More power to him.
We're going to have former Canes all over the place.
I mean, hopefully for their sake they play more than the ones that left last year because other than Harlan Beverly, there was complete goose eggs. So.
2 of them are already transferring again.
Yes, they are. Not welcome here. Yeah, we'll see where. So I think what would trigger a show is someone staying more so than someone leaving.
Or a portal guy.
A portal guy.
Someone committing to the program, whether they're staying or a portal guy. That's probably going to be.
There you go.
Anyway, I have to go back to work. But
I have to go too. We're wrapping the show up.
Yeah,
So do you want to actually, are we ready? You want to just do your job and then we'll leave?
Yeah. You good, Matt?
Yeah, do your job. Yeah.
Do you want to do a quick final thoughts? 1 sentence of a final thought?
No.
All right. Cue the Sox outro. Don't cry. Keep it chill. Wear good socks.